first, a vegan diet is not just your friend not eating meat. Well, that's a part of it. A vegan diet involves only plant-derived foods such as fruits, vegetables, grains, seeds, and nuts. And a vegan diet is the strictest plant-based diet involving no animal-derived foods such as dairy, meat, eggs, etc. A vegan diet usually leads to lower fat intake, which means that the cell relies more on glycolysis and pyruvate oxidation as fatty acids enter from step 3 as acetyl-CoA. It also lowers the protein intake, and this affects all of the metabolic steps, leading to mitochondrial biogenesis, which is the creation of mitochondria in order to kind of compensate for the fuel that might be lost. And this brings one of the main cons of the vegan diet, which is that we cannot be provided all the essential amino acids without proper planning. So the planning needs to be very accurate in a vegan diet. The vegan diet also provides very high fiber and starch intake as carbohydrates from fruits and vegetables, which provides a very high and steady source of carbohydrates. And this triggers glycolysis enzymes and keeps them very active. And the reason why this is very good and better than sugar intake is because it doesn't spike the glucose levels, and it stores most of the fuel as glycogen. But it might also require a very high volume of food to provide all of the energy. However, the main thing to understand from a vegan diet is that it triggers most of the reactions in the metabolic pathway and cellular respiration, which helps with a very steady flow of energy rather than omnivorous diets, which usually triggers the step 3, which is the Krebs cycle, and that leads to a very unstable and inefficient glucose in our blood and energy in our blood, leading to a higher blood pressure, rather than a vegan diet, which starts from step 1 and has very efficient ETC, Krebs cycle, and glycolysis, which it starts from.
What are the proven health benefits? Studies show that American vegans had 44% lower cholesterol levels than others. This is because vegans tend to have a higher fiber consumption, which reduces how much cholesterol is being absorbed in the bloodstream. For changes to be seen, an increased fiber content must be consumed daily. Removing red and processed meat eliminates a known risk factor for colorectal cancer. This is because meat contains heme, a chemical that is broken down into N-nitroso, which are carcinogens. As the chemical goes into the body, cells are being damaged, thus increasing the risk of cancer. A vegan diet also decreases the risk of type 2 diabetes. This is because the plant-based diets and low-fat content allow for glycemic control, which means that glucose in the bloodstream that comes from carbohydrates consumed is controlled. As a result, the buildup of glucose in the blood is prevented. The most serious concern is vitamin B12 deficiency. Plants do not naturally contain sufficient B12, and vegans show significantly higher rates of deficiency. Low B12 raises plasma homocysteine levels, a known cardiovascular risk factor, and can cause serious neurological issues like ataxia, paresthesia, and even dementia. This is why supplementation is essential. Vegans also require a greater iron intake, as plant-based diets are less metabolizable. This is because the absorption of nutrients like iron is inhibited by acids in whole grains, nuts, and etc., therefore posing the risk of iron deficiency, resulting in effects like tiredness and fatigue. Another is that plant proteins do not include all essential amino acids, meaning that meals need proper planning to reach appropriate protein goals.
If you are planning to commit to a vegan diet, it is very important to know all of the risks, take all of the precautions, and pay attention to the planning of your diet. And if you do all of that, and if you take care of yourself and your diet, you will be fine. Stay green and take care.